Hey everyone, it's me Jay, and today I want to talk about something that I've been seeing being discussed a lot lately, and I've actually seen it been used at me, and I don't know, I just kind of wanted to give my opinions and my thoughts on this topic. My best friend Gage, she made a video on it, and I will link her video in the bio if you guys don't know who Gage is. But she did a great job talking about it. She summed it up a little bit, but I kind of want to give my own thoughts and opinions on what this topic is and my own theory of kind of the stigma behind passing privilege. And so if you guys don't know, passing privilege is kind of the privilege that trans people get if they appear in societal standards as cisgendered. So they can pass in everyday life without people ever thinking twice whether they're trans or not. And so I've seen it used against my friends before. I've had it used against me, saying, you're privileged because you do pass, you look so well, and some trans women aren't as lucky. And I know it also applies to trans males too. And as far as safety concerns, I completely agree and I 100% understand. But when someone came in and they said they related it to, someone was talking to me and they related it to white privilege, that completely annoyed me because it is not the same at all. I do understand the argument with safety. So trans women having to appear very feminine in order to fit societal standards for their safety, that's a real thing, and I do believe that that we need to definitely advocate to kind of, fuck gender roles, fuck what masculinity and femininity looks like. And that's where my point comes in. Whenever people were arguing about this, saying you're so lucky because you pass, I've heard people say this against my friends. I've heard this said against me, you're so lucky because you pass. And it makes me mad because it's other trans people telling other trans people this. And instead of being happy for one another, there's constant fighting. And by saying this, you're creating what a cisgendered person should look like, what a gender should look like. You're creating gender roles, you're creating gender norms. And I don't know if I'm a fan of that. Femininity is fluid, masculinity is fluid. Gender is fluid. I just don't think that there's I don't know, when people kind of say oh, you pass, it's kind of saying yes, I believe in femininity is what makes a woman and masculinity is what makes a man. And I don't know, I just kind of get upset with that because I want that to kind of die down. I'm tired of you can look however you want to look as long as you're happy and comfortable with yourself. And by no means am I saying passing privilege does not exist, because there are advantages that trans people who pass get to have, and I understand that. But I think the real problem lies within the constant self-judgment we have on ourselves as trans people. And I think what we like to do, and we don't really realize, is compare ourselves to each other and compare ourselves to people we look up to. My friend Gage, who made that video, I have looked up to her for so long. I watched her videos before being her friend, and for the longest time I was jealous of her. I was envious of her. And even times now, I look at other trans people and I'm like, oh, I wish I had that about myself, and I wish I had that about myself. Because for me, I'll never see myself as a person that passes. I'll never see myself as authentically a woman. And hormones help and all this helps, but obviously, I live every day in constant fear of being clocked, of people judging me, of people figuring out. Even if people think that I pass, that doesn't affect the way that I feel going out every day. I don't use women's restrooms. I use gender neutral restrooms. And if there isn't one when I go out, then I avoid using it at all, just because I'm so scared of what someone might do. Living in that constant fear is real, regardless if people believe that you pass or not. What we really need to kill is us comparing ourselves to other people, because that's something that can be very detrimental to our mental health, and we have to just learn to love ourselves. I feel like the biggest thing with trans people is we want to be anybody other than ourselves, and it's hard because the dysphoria really hits it hits home. We look at any detail that might seem awful, that might seem like something that we hate, something too masculine, something too feminine. We look at these things and we tear ourselves apart, and we just make ourselves into a person that wants to be someone else. So looking up to people, it can be helpful because you can get inspired, but sometimes it can be really hurtful. And so this whole passing privilege and people fighting constantly, I really just think the underlying problem is us comparing ourselves to other people. We can't take away the dysphoria that passing trans people have. It's real, and it's just as valid as any other trans person. So I don't know if you guys understand what I'm trying to say. I hope this came off as clear. I don't want to upset anybody. If you have any different thoughts or anything, feel free to comment and just talk to me. But yeah, I think we have to kind of move past gender norms and what a gender looks like, and we have to be more loving and accepting to ourselves.